Today, we're going to be teaching you how to have the best camera plot for your Sunday service. Let's get into it. And welcome back to the Pursuit Production. My name is McKean.
I'm Fraser, and today we're talking about camera plots.
Camera plots for your Sunday service. And the reason why this is so important is because you as the director are limited by however many cameras you have and what room space you're working in. Some people are working with giant stadiums. Some people are working in small rooms that only fit 50 people. Either situation is going to have limitations. So for you, how do you have the best camera plot for your setup? We're going to be talking about how to do it with 2 cameras, 4 cameras, 8 cameras, and beyond. So buckle up. This is going to be a really fun video. I've been talking to a lot of people about why you should have the certain camera plot, what cameras you should have with what lenses, and what setups. So I think we should just get into it.
Yeah, let's jump into it.
So let's go ahead and pull out that board that we have. So we have a camera plot board that represents our camera setup here at our Kirkland campus. And this is so important for us because we're able to show new volunteers when they get on camera, hey, this is your lens, this is your position, this is where you're going to be operating out of. This whole board was created by one of our guys, Hunter, so shout out to you. Yeah. And I just love this setup so much because it just really shows how well this whole thing can look when you just put a lot of time and thought into it.
Yeah.
If it was just up to me, it would have been a whiteboard with like some circles and stuff. But this, just take a look at this. Go down to this so you can see. It's really nice, just the whole setup and how everything looks. And you have your little band members. Keegan, why don't you go ahead and walk us through just what each thing on this board represents?
Yeah. So we have 7 cameras here at the Pursuit. And so we're going to go with the camera 1. This is our jib shot. So this is our wide. It's on a 25 lens. Then we're going to jump down to camera 2, which is our follow. It's the 70-200, and then camera 3, which is also on the same 200, but it's a Dana dolly. So that's our moving shot in the back. I don't know if you guys ever watched our live streams. That's what you see. The camera moves fast, moves slow. Really love that shot. Yeah. Okay, and then we're jumping on camera 4. This is our drum cam. Throw in bass, maybe guitar, lead singer, maybe sometimes. And we're jump over to 5, which is on the other side of the page. It's our other handheld. Yep. And it's just covering everything else, like the keys, violin, anything else that's really over there. Jump into 6. I love this shot too. Pit camera, awesome for opening shots. So I'm gonna shoot crowd and pretty much whatever the director wants. And then we're gonna jump onto our last camera, which is camera 7. And that's basically what camera 6 is, just on the other side of the stage and with a different lens.
And the reason why we have this camera plot set up the way it is because we understand the limitations of what we have here in this campus. Now, it's really nice that we have 7 cameras because we get to make a dynamic look with all of those cameras. Some of our campuses, they only have 5, some have 6. You might be working with a campus that only has 2 cameras. And however many you have, you really want to make it look the best that you can. I mean, I'll talk at the end a little bit about my dream camera setup and what I would do if I had, 16 cameras to play with. But for 7, I really feel like we max out their ability to the highest amount. We really do. When we're laying out our camera plot, and this is for you guys too at home, when you're deciding as a video director, okay, for my church, what do I do? What do I choose the first camera to be? The first camera is always going to be the wide shot.
Yeah, sure.
Your wide shot is your safety shot. That's your safety. It's your transition. It's your establishing shot for getting in the room. And I tell people this every time, especially my new directors who I'm training. I say, hey, you always go to camera 1, whether you're coming out of a graphic, announcement, video, whatever it is, and you go back into camera 1 at the start and end of the service so that you can show your context to your viewers of which room that they're in and which campus they're at. We have 3 campuses. You might not. You might only have 1 campus. I still highly recommend using camera 1 as your main transition shot because it really helps somebody who's watching our broadcast. They don't see everything that we see by sitting in the room. We're like, oh, obviously you walk in, there's a big building, there's a high ceiling, whatever. They don't have any of that. If you start your broadcast on a tight shot of the worship leader, that's the only context for the room they have. Yeah. So I highly recommend starting with camera 1 as the jib. Do you have anything you want to throw that at?
That's pretty much it.
Yeah, so we have our setup as a jib here. At our Seattle and our Snohomish campuses, we just have a locked off wide in the back.
Yeah.
That's all that we have to work with. Those rooms can't fit a jib. We don't have the budget for it.
Yeah.
Here we do, so we're like, well, yeah, let's make it's a jib because here's the other thing about all these cameras. All of them are moving. Every single one of them, we want them to be handheld or a jib or a dolly where there's constant motion. It creates the dynamic look, makes it look like a music video. That's not a requirement for church broadcast. You can make it work if all of your cameras are locked off.
Yeah.
In our Seattle campus, we have it set up so that if there's only one director and there's no cam ops, you can still have a full Sunday broadcast service because our drums camera is locked off, our wide's locked off, our singer head to toe is locked off, our follow cam, and you can make it work. But I knew that when we were coming into this, I'm like, okay, we're going to want at least 7 ops per service. We're going to want a director and we're going to want a technical director. That's 9 people. If you don't have 9 volunteers to be able to put in those places, then just kind of think about how you can downscale to have the most, workable solution, but that can also be ran by one person. Because we still could run some of this with one person. We just do a bunch of locked offs. But I love that we have the ability to take it handheld and make it all moving. So why don't you go ahead to the next one?
Yeah, so this is our follow cam. It's camera 2, and it's the 70-200 Canon lens. I'm pretty sure it's the servo. What we use for that is, of course, follow for the message and stuff like that. And then we also use it for lead singers, so that the director always has somebody to cut to, like especially when the start of the verse or in the chorus or whenever else they feel like they need cut to. It's a really good camera. I like the lens. So yeah.
And this is technically it's your most important camera for a service. Like you can just have camera 2 and you can pull off a service and people aren't going to be like, well, what the heck's happening? Because 90% of your sermon is going to be on camera 2. You might be cutting around some other cameras, obviously camera 1 for the establishing shot. But camera 2 is very, very important because that's what you're going to be on for the majority of the time. Some people try to put the follow cameras camera 1. I only say don't do that because you want one always as your safety camera. You're like, okay, I know where the 1 button is on the switcher without having to even look at it because it's the one at the very end. That's just another thing is like the more you do it, the more repetition you get and the more your brain just kind of remembers where things are at. So you're like, okay, obviously like camera 2 is going to be next, so you want to be on 2. If I only had 2 cameras to pull off a live stream, it would be a wide shot and a follow cam.
Yeah.
That's all I would have because those are your most important shots to make a dynamic look. So let's go ahead and move on to camera 3, the Dana Dolly. You want to explain to us why that's important and how we use it differently between worship and sermon?
Yeah. So this is the Dana Dolly, of course, like what he said. So we have the 70-200 Canon lens on there. Love the lens, probably one of my favorite lenses. But the Dana Dolly is so much fun. I mean, as a director and also operating it, I mean, there's so much you can do with it. You can do focus pulls while moving the Dana Dolly. You can do like zooms while doing that. It's also really hard, but there's a lot you can do with it, and I love it. So what we use in worship is we usually keep it like wide or tight, depending on what the director wants or what the cam op's doing. Usually just moving it down and forth across the tracks, and that's pretty much simple what we do.
This camera is important for several reasons, and one of them is because it's another sermon shot that you have. It's your head to toe. That's how we have it. It's our singer head to toe. It's our speaker head to toe. And it's important to have so that you have a little more context to cut to. We always cut to camera 3 whenever the audience is reacting to what the speaker is saying. So if the speaker is, he says a good line or he says a joke or something, everybody's laughing or they're clapping, we cut to camera 3, gives the audience at home a little bit more context for what's happening in the room visually. Obviously, they're going to hear it over the microphones and everything that we capture in the room, but you want a visual cue as well for that. It just makes your stream look a little more dynamic. The other thing is that if somebody is drinking water, here's a little director tip for you. Anytime a speaker drinks water on stage, just cut to camera 3, give it a couple seconds and cut back. It's just awkward to stare at somebody, a tight shot of them just drinking water. So it's just a little trick. Now that you know, you're going to see it more on other broadcasts and stuff when people are drinking water and then it cuts away and cuts back. You're going to be like, that person knew. So that's what that's good for. It's better to cut to a head to toe shot where the shot is still framed up on the speaker than a full wide of the room. Yeah. Especially for something like that, that's just a couple of seconds. Yeah. So that's camera 3. We're just going to breeze through the next 4 really quick. We're just going to talk about handhelds and why we have them on handhelds why do we have them handheld instead of on tripods, but also why are they all wireless? Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
So handhelds, let's talk about 4, 5, 6, and 7. So handhelds are awesome, especially with the wireless units we have, is that one reason why we have wireless units is if they had SDIs, like this person would not be able to cover a whole lot, especially like this is a prime lens. They don't have a zoom. The only zooms that we have are camera 5 and camera 6 are the only handhelds that are zoomed. So they get more of a variety of shots and can move around. Like if this person was in SDI, like he would only be able to shoot probably the front of the drums and like over here, but he can't go behind the drums. But since with the wireless units, we can go behind the drums, we can cover all over. 6 can even go in the crowd if they wanted to, like shoot crowd. I love crowd shots. 7 can do the same. Same with 5. I mean, 5's going to shoot the keys up close and is going to move back, you know, stuff like that. So it's really nice to have camera ops that like are on handhelds, moving around on tripods, and also wireless units.
Yeah. Keep going.
Yeah, sometimes we do put camera 4 if we don't have a cam off form, like camera 4 on a tripod for just the lock off drum camera, because we can do that with all the other cameras we have.
It's true.
But that's only if we don't have enough cam offs.
Yeah. So what I always push for is you want enough cameras to capture what's going on in the room, but you also really, really want handheld cameras. And so I'm like, once you have all of your basics covered, camera 1, your wide shot, camera 2, your follow cam, camera 3, your head to toe, and camera 4, your drum cam, I'll throw 5 and 6 on handhelds. Every time. If I only had 6 cameras to work with, this is the setup I would do every time, because it covers every aspect of the transitions, the worship, the speaking, and everything else that might happen. Like if all of a sudden your speaker is running out in the crowd and praying for people and stuff, you have a handheld camera that you can set up, or you can turn around and get a reverse shot of the room. You don't have to have a reverse that's mounted up in the back behind your LED wall. That's not a bad shot to have, but you don't have to have it. You can make this camera setup, or even just a 6 camera setup, work really, really well. Yeah. Is there anything else that we want to throw out on this?
I can't really think of anything at the moment.
I feel like this covers it really, really well. I love that we got the little singers. We got the little people right here. You got the singer, you got the keys player, you got someone on violin up here. Yeah. We got a little Pastor Lighty. So he's just rocking out right there. You got your guys in the back. You got Jeremiah here in the corner. So it's just fun to like have this as a really, really good visual reference for everything. If we had it for all of our campuses, I'd be like, yeah, that's awesome. That's great.
Yeah, I mean, this is such a good visual reference. It's like, as like a director, sometimes when I'm directing, like, you know, a camera might come in and be like, hey, what camera am I on? And they're like, I tell them the camera, like camera 4, but they're like, oh, what lens is that? Or like where is it? And I can point to the board. I can be like, oh yeah, that's the drum cam. You're going to cover all this space without like going down there and having to show them, because I'm not have time for that.
Right.
And so I can just like, oh yeah, it's the 35. It's camera 4. It's the drum cam. I mostly don't want drums from that.
Yep.
And you know, you can mix it up a little bit. You know, in the slow modes, go tight, go zoom, you know, stuff like that. So.
A big thing is time. So that's why we have this, is so that we can, hey, I can hit all 7 of you guys, so you know where you're at and what you do, what lens you're on. That's actually something I was not prepared for when I first started, when we first got into this campus, is people asking me, what lens am I on? And I would have 7 cam ups every Sunday, every service, asking me, what lens am I on? And I came out of a church environment where we just had a case full of lenses. And so you could just choose whatever you felt like that day. Oh, I want a 50 prime. Oh, I want to be on a 24 to 105. Oh, I want to be on a 70 to 200. And you just grab it and you attach it and you go. Here, we don't have the luxury of just having a bunch of lenses. We have enough lenses for every single one of our cameras, and that's it.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, listen, this is what's going to work best for this position here. So, and we'll talk about more about lenses in a different video, and what lenses we would get next time, the lenses we have. But for the lenses we have here and now, this setup works really, really well for us. Your setup might work differently. You go, oh, I don't want a 35 on drums. I want my 24 to 70. Great, use your 24 to 70. Oh, I don't want, you know, a 50 millimeter handheld. I want a 70 to 200. Yeah. Great, use that. Whatever works best for you is what you should be able to use for your camera plot. This is just a reference guide for how we do ours, and we hope it helps you.
Yeah.
Before we end, I do want to talk about one last thing, and that is my dream camera plot. Yeah. And I only want to share it because I'm believing prophetically someday it will happen. Yeah. But also because it's a really good reference point for going, oh, this can actually scale even bigger. Like, yes, if I had 2 cameras, I would have my wide shot and my follow. If I had 7 cameras, this is what it would look like. Yeah. If I had 16 cameras, here's how we would lay out the plot. And I'm going to go quick. So follow along. Yeah. The first 4 are all in the back row. And your jib doesn't have to be in the back row, but the idea is it's your back row crowd shots. Yeah. So it'd be your wide shot, your follow, your tight follow, your head to toe follow, and then you would have your dolly shot, which could be a little bit wider. Yeah. So it's important for those 4 because those are your 4 like main reference points for the room and for capturing speaking. Those are absolutely necessary. You can have a worship set with those 4 cameras without having any stage shots. You really want your stage shots. Those are dynamic. Those are coming next. But what you want is to make sure you can cover the room first.
Yeah.
So wide, tight follow, loose follow, and then your dolly head to toe. Nice. So that's what I would have for my first 4 cameras. The next 4 would be my stage cameras. So I would want a upstage handheld, downstage handheld. I might have got that reversed. Upstage handheld, downstage handheld on either side. And then one of them is going to be focused on the instruments. And then the other one's going to be focused on the singers. And then the same for this other side too. One's going to be focused on instrument. The other's going to be focused on singers. Those 4 are going to cover every aspect of your stage. You're not going to have camera ops running across the stage to get a shot of the keys and running back because the drums are now doing a solo and everything. You don't want to have to do that. You want your cam ops to be focused on one area so you have full coverage of everything. And that's really, really going to help make a difference.
Yeah.
The next ones that you want to do is you want your pit cams and your handheld crowds.
Yeah.
So I would actually have 6 and 7. We usually have these guys like right at the edge of the stage. What makes a more dynamic look, and we did this for the album recording, is when you put them about 2 to 3 rows back.
Yeah.
If you can put them a few rows back in the sanctuary, in the service, you get out a lot of foreground opportunity. You get a lot of hands raised. You get a lot of heads in your foreground. You can even put those 2 on tripods if you want. What would those be? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So cams 9 and 10, you put those in the pit a little bit back, put them on tripods, and you're able to capture the singers from a more dynamic look.
Yeah.
So I love that. I would have that as well. It's not absolutely necessary to pull off a service, but it does look really, really good. And most worship sets that you see that are in like a big room or a stadium or sanctuary have shots like that. The other 2 that I mentioned, 11 and 12, are going to be your roaming crowd cameras. So those are the ones that are walking up and down the aisles, getting shots of hands in the crowd, getting shots of people worshiping. That really brings in your online community to go, oh, we really want to, like, we understand, like the room is going in this direction. People are posturing themselves in worship. I can do that at home, even though I'm just staring at a TV on my wall.
For sure.
Those shots are important for those reasons. The last 4 would all be lock-offs and that you just have around the room. So you'd have a lock-off drums, a lock-off keys, a lock-off wide shot of the entire room, super wide. This is where you could throw a webcam in or whatever you want because you just get a mega watch, a 12 millimeter, doesn't matter. You just want to establishing wide of the room. You're not necessarily going to take it on your stream, but it's a really, really great reference point. And then you can also have one as a reverse, like we were talking about, that reverse that's up like behind the LED wall that shoots everything else. So you can see the crowd. That's a good shot to have too. So again, that was a lot of information. Just ran through 16 cameras. For me, my dream setup, that's what I would have because it covers every area. If you're down camera ops, then you don't have to worry about scaling back too much. You can work with what you have. You can have lock-offs, you can have handhelds, you can have roaming. It covers all the bases. And obviously it can change, but I encourage you, if you're a video director and you're watching this, think about, write out and just dream, what's your own camera plot that you want to have? Take the room that you're looking, you're going, oh, well, I can't get a jib because the ceilings aren't high enough, or, oh man, I'd fit a dolly here, but we don't have enough chair space for it. Work with what you have to try to dream up the best camera plot that's possible for you, and then go pitch it and try to get a budget or something, because that's the fun part, is when it actually works out and you're able to go make an idea a reality. So we hope that helps. This was a video all about the camera plot that you are able to set up for your Sunday church production. If you have any questions, please leave it in the comments below. We try to respond to your comments as soon as possible. We love it when people are reaching out. I think at this point we have more subscribers that I don't know than people we do know. And I think the algorithm said something like 80% of our viewers are not subscribed. So please go subscribe. Go ahead and share it. Comment. We're building an online community here. We're trying to make something where it's not just about camera plots, it's not just about lenses, but it's about people working together to help have the best Sunday experience possible.
For sure.
Is there anything else you want to add?
That's pretty much it. You hit them all.
Hit them all. Awesome. Well, sounds good. Thanks so much for joining us, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.